Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, July 8th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts in your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple of clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one that we are looking at up here, WOLF. Very, very big mover today. Great way to start. Well, assuming you're long and bullish, very nice way to start off the week here. And let's map out some of the key level swatch moving forward. So we'll first start with an area of resistance, and you can see that right here we have a bit of a pullback here. Let's change that to red for resistance, but that's just illustrating that sure, the price did come back from these highs, but that's a very narrow standpoint. So yeah, I get it. If you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes, well then yeah, from that standpoint, things are looking rough. But assuming you do care about the bigger picture point of view, then overall things are still perfectly fine, because when we finish and kind of close out the rest here of this pattern, so we have that going on, and then we have this lower area right here. Let's change that to green for our support. And then just to make the pattern easier to see, let's keep it all one color here. So we have an area of, that wasn't very good. Let's try that again. Let me, there we go. We have this area of resistance. We have this area of support. And then we have this big upwards move right here. And then to finish it off, let's put the golf hole down here. And this would be a bull pennant pattern. Now, just because something's a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to go upwards. But would it be shocking for the price to kind of consolidate out and then maybe get a break there and have that break create upside buying pressure? By no means is that some sort of crazy question to throw out there as a possibility. So if you like price range down below $5, you like bull pennant patterns, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, looking at MBIO, and very rough mover on this one. But again, it all does go back to perspective. If you are a day trader, flipper, scalper who bought right there, maybe you bought the dip right there and you wanted to buy and sell within minutes, well then yes, this is not a good looking chart at all, as there was just a very, very large pullback against you. But if you do care about things from the bigger picture standpoint, then the price does still have the opportunity to build a higher base. Now, again, this might sound crazy to you, but it all goes back to the point of, well, what was your kind of game plan going in? And I'm not saying this will occur, but I mean, in theory, the price could drop down even further, and let's just call it $2.80. I am just picking that point kind of arbitrarily just to illustrate the point here. But if the price were to come down here, behave like that, and then curl back upwards. Now, emphasis here on big picture. From the big picture perspective, what would you still have? Well, you'd have a set of lows right here. You'd have these lows down here. And again, from the big picture standpoint, if you envision those as stair-steps, you do still have stair-steps progressing in the upwards direction. I totally understand if you bought right there as a day trader, you don't care about this dynamic. But I am trying to illustrate that even with a bigger pullback today, if you do care about things from the overall standpoint, to be fair to the bulls, the price does still have the chance to build a higher base. In terms of areas of resistance, key level that I definitely keep an eye on moving forward if there is going to be any sort of turnaround right there at that $4 mark. So keep a $4 or keep that $4 mark in your kind of in your sights if the price does try to curl back upwards. Next one here, BTBT. I'm going to go through this one pretty quick because you just heard me talk about this pattern previously, and I want to respect your time as much as possible. So like I said, I'm going to go through this one quicker. So there is our area of resistance. And then at the same time, we have this lower area right here that is heading up as our point of support. And then just to make sure that everybody sees it, let's keep the pattern the same color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the nice upwards move right here. Down here, we have the golf hole, and we have, once again, another bull pennant pattern. So like I said earlier, just because it's bullish does not mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to go upwards, but certainly a scenario where if something like this happens, I don't think anybody would be shocked by it, and by far a more than realistic question to throw out there as a possibility. So again, if you like this price range, you like bull pennant patterns, keep an eye on it. Next one here, BBAI. I've been tracking this one very closely, and the uptrend continues, although it did pull back a little bit. But this is, again, going back to that whole idea of, well, what was your strategy going in? Day traders, flippers, scalpers, that part right there, maybe aren't feeling so good about things. But assuming you care about the grand scheme of it all, when we just sit here and look at the lows, so we have a set of lows here, we have these lows here, we have these lows down here. You envision those as stair steps. And overall, stair steps very clearly still progressing in the upwards direction. So from an overarching standpoint, the bulls are in full control. The bulls are still making progress in the upward direction. First day in a while, to be fair, that the bulls actually did not put in a new high, but just because the price doesn't put in a new high, it doesn't mean anything's wrong per se. Unfortunately, no price can go and put in new highs every single day. But in terms of areas of resistance, the main level that stands out to me right here at this $8 mark. So keep a close eye on that. If this thing is going to try to continue on with the trend and eventually put in a higher high, then $8 will be that key battleground to keep a close eye on. But again, from the big picture point of view, everything is still perfectly fine, even though today the price did not put in a new higher high. Next one here, NVDA, and same general idea of what I was just talking about. Did not put in a higher high today. Had a bit of a pullback, but in all actuality, we essentially have another one of these bull pennant patterns. But this one just happens to be a multi-day pattern. So if I do something like this, and then if I say, well, where's this price at before this pullback happened over the past day and a half? And I say, well, the price was here, and then it made the big explosion upwards like there. And then again, just to make it visual, let's put the golf hole in down there. This would still be a bull pennant pattern. But like I said, the biggest difference would be instead of just looking at a narrow range, as in 1 day or even less than a day, right now in this situation, we are looking at a multi-day pattern. So not to mention this is happening on NVIDIA, sort of a popular stock. So while that still doesn't guarantee anything per se, it does make it more reasonable to think that there's just that much better of a chance that maybe some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy happens because so many people are watching the same thing and wondering the same thing with a popular. So we will see what happens with it. Real quick, want to take a break and make you aware of something that maybe could help you out in a big way, especially if you're somebody trapped under that pattern day trading rule. But if you are trapped under the pattern day trading rule, you're sick and tired of it, and you want another alternative to be able to go out there, trade as often as you want, have unlimited day trades, be able to trade 23 hours a day, 6 days a week, and then get $50K in buying power for only $102, then check out that link that you see there on the screen. I'll also put it down below in the description box, and give that a look, and then use code CLAY at checkout in order to take advantage of the deal. So I don't want to get too far into it, but if any of those things sound good to you, then definitely check out that link, use code CLAY at checkout, and you're going to have unlimited day trades and trade some stuff that moves very, very nicely. And we are once again looking at another bull pennant pattern. So as I mentioned earlier, to respect your time as much as possible, I'm going to go through this one much quicker and maybe try to draw it in your mind before me. See if you can kind of see what I'm seeing. So there's the area of resistance. There's the bottom part of the pattern, support. And just because I cannot help myself, let's keep it all the same color. So we have our area of resistance, support, big move up right here. And then put the golf hole down here. And this is, again, another one of these bull pennant patterns. Big difference here, I would say, is this one happens to be down in the penny stock range. So if you like bull pennants but you prefer penny stocks, here you go. Next one here, LGPS. And I like this one as it had a pretty wild day but is now giving some interesting signs. So just set up the context, big gap up, price went all the way up there, and then a very nasty pullback. And when the price gets down around there, it becomes a very valid question to just throw out there, is this one of these gap and traps? Is this some sort of pump and dump? And seemingly got our answer, and no, it wasn't. Not only did the price level out, but it has now started to go back upwards. Now, let me be very clear. Just because the price started to go upwards does not mean for sure guaranteed this pullback is over and for sure guaranteed this thing is going to, curl back and revisit these highs. But is it more plausible to throw out that as a question, as a suggestion now? Absolutely. Case in point, let's just say the price was still just dropping, and then I'm sitting here saying, hey, it's like looking like this could be the bottom. You'd be totally justified to say, wait, what are you talking about? Based on what? The price is literally just dropping down. But that's not the case here, right? It has at least leveled off and started to go upward. So again, does that guarantee anything? It doesn't. However, does it make it maybe a little bit more plausible? In my mind, absolutely. So a key dynamic here to watch on moving forward is just to keep an eye on that general trend line right there, because that's illustrating, is the price continuing to bounce upwards? And then as far as areas of resistance are concerned and the key battleground to watch closely, keep an eye right up there around that $1.75 mark, as that could be a main battleground of potentially if it can break up through there. Then again, no guarantees, but it becomes way more realistic at that point to think that the price could very well maybe revisit those highs up around there. But all in all, pretty eventful day. Now it's starting to creep back upwards, but let's see if the price can continue to curl upwards for Tuesday. Next one here, CORZ, wild mover. And there's kind of two camps of people here. So for the one camp of people, if you were in before today, then yeah, today, anyway, look at it, absolute train wreck with the big gap down. There's no need to beat around the bush. The chart's looking very, very rough, and I state the obvious when I say that. But for the category of people that maybe got in today or maybe still watching it. Very interesting dynamics occurring here, especially when you factor in down here that pink line, which on my chart represents a 200 period moving average, and how during that opening 30 minutes of the day, check it out, price came down there and bounced almost directly off that level before now giving us a very interesting setup here headed into Tuesday. So moral of the story there, moving forward from the overarching standpoint, definitely still going to want to keep an eye on that pink line down there, the 200 period moving average as that main area of support. The ideal level of support when we say, hey Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? That would be if the price could stay up there above $14.50, but I would not call $14.50 any sort of do or die level or anything like that. But if the price could stay above there, that would certainly be a very impressive sign of strength. And then in terms of areas of resistance now, if there is going to be any sort of a return back to maybe try to close the gap or what have you, definitely a key level right around 1575 is that initial level that I keep a close eye on. And then after that, you want to keep an eye on the purple line right there, the 50 period moving average. But one hurdle at a time, and that first key hurdle from the resistance standpoint right there at 1575. So yes, brutal day today if you were already in. But yeah, very eventful, move down, back up. Now is this going to be some sort of high or low where it can try to curl back upwards? We'll see what happens. Next one, BMNR has been the talk of the town. Very, very volatile beast. And today, once again, had quite a bit of volatility with it. But now as we head into Tuesday, I would say some very well-defined areas from a technical standpoint. First key level from the resistance viewpoint, right up here around that $121 mark, just going through the history of today. You can see how the price right here rejected the price down, then a couple of times this afternoon rejected the price down. So as always, no guarantees, but is it plausible? Is it valid to think that if the price were to come up to this 121 mark and then get a break, that break right there could create additional buying pressure? In my mind, that is a more than valid scenario to throw out there. So keep an eye on 121 as that key area of resistance. And then on the flip side of things, when it comes to levels of support, I think the main level here that revealed itself today in terms of at least where the buyers are hanging around right now, right there at that $100 mark. Hasn't been perfect, but just going back to the history of things, you can see right here, generally speaking, got the bounce off 100 several times right here, got the bounce off 100. So as of right now, in the very near term, I would just call this a sideways channel pattern. Again, top of the channel right there at 121, bottom of the channel down there, that's supposed to be 100. But you get the idea there that if you want to call it, I guess, 97.65, you can do that too. But like I said, before you get too hung up in the numbers, the general price movement is definitely within this range. And now moving forward, just a question of which way is the price ultimately going to move. But as I said previously, if you like very, very volatile stocks, keep an eye on it. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and I like this one right after the previous one because the same exact idea is, yes, it was a brutal day. So if you're in already, yeah, brutal day. But now we have, like the other one, just from a price action standpoint, a very well-defined sideways movement. I mean, I don't think you can really illustrate it any better than just being able to draw quite the rectangle right around that area, which again is just illustrating the two, kind of battlegrounds that have developed after a very brutal gap down here. So we'll map these out. And again, as I point this out, this is not trying to impress you. I think a whole lot of people are watching these levels, which again introduces that whole idea of potential self-fulfilling prophecy. So on the bottom part of the channel here, $290.50 key area of support. And then in terms of areas of resistance, top part of the channel, right here around $295.50. So basically a $5 range where it's just chopping back and forth, throughout the course of the day. So yeah, moving forward, looks like a big question mark of who is ultimately going to win this battle. Are the bulls going to get the break to the upside and win, or are the bears going to get a break to the downside? But yeah, grab your popcorn and we'll see how this week continues to play out. And then one final time before I go, like I said, if you are suffering and annoyed by that pattern day trader rule, you want to have unlimited day trades, make as many day trades as you want every single day, then make sure you check out that link that you see here on the screen or just down in the description area and use code CLAY at checkout, and that will get you $50K in buying power for $102. There's more that explained at the website there, but it's the current situation, or it's the current approach to the market that I'm using. So if you go there, it's the exact thing that I am doing, and I can say that I am very, very pleased with it. It's amazing how well you can minimize your risk, because at the end of the day, your risk would only be $102 because that's what you would be paying for the account itself. So if that sounds, like I said, of any interest, especially if you are very annoyed by and feel trapped by that pattern day trader rule, then check out that link. Like I said, I'll put it in the description box below. So thanks for hanging out. As always, if you appreciate these top 10 videos, make sure you hit that like button. And as always, have a good one, and I'll see you back until the next one.